Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. This is Hunter here, and I'm here with Scott. Scott, how you doing, my friend?
Fantastic as always, Hunter. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. So a shout out to our colleague Colin, who unfortunately he got busy doing O'Neill stuff. Colin, we will see you next week, sir. But we are here to talk about the Fate of the Furious, which is the eighth. The eighth. How crazy is that? We have eight of these fucking Fast and Furious movies.
That's crazy. I guess when I think about it though, I think about the first one I saw, and that felt like a while ago. Like they've been doing this. It's it's felt like a while. I'm surprised they're still doing them.
So I
And
actually.
then I'm sorry, let me amend
Oh
that.
no, wait.
I'm surprised they're still making them. And then I looked at how much they made in the box office.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Fury 7, I thought was actually a pretty damn good movie. It was the swan song for Paul Walker, and that Fury 7 did incredible numbers. I want to say it crossed over $1 billion if memory serves.
I believe so.
Yeah, I
I know
know.
it did 140 opening, 140 US or something like that.
$1.516 billion.
Wow.
Jesus Christ. So yeah, I just think about that. 1.5 billion with a B.
1.5 billion. Like it's not like you surpassed like people would be happy with 500 million.
Yeah,
That's just dumb.
which by the way is what this which is what so it had the big so before we kind of jump to the review here, um Fate of the Furious had the biggest opening
Hmm.
ever. Ever.
World international, worldwide,
Yeah,
ever.
so yeah, how crazy is it? 520, I believe it's $521 million. Pardon me, $532 million. So that is just over $3 million of what The Force Awakens made. So it already broke a record that I really didn't think was gonna be broke for a while. So God, so these movies are doing pretty well for themselves. So
They're not gonna stop anytime soon.
so
It's gonna be. Weren't we talking about them taking it to space or something, and how like he has? Is this the one where he is this the director that he has more in store, or the writers?
so the thing about this movie that I will say is, at this point, I would not be surprised if they took it to space. To be totally honest, I don't think there's anywhere else to go but taking this to
Yeah,
space.
where do you go? Where do you go from here?
Because goddamn, he just um. And what's crazy is the director of this, F. Gary Gray. He's actually done a couple of movies that I've really enjoyed. He was a director on Friday. He was a director on Set It Off. He was a director on The Negotiator, which is that movie with Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson. And then he did the Italian Job too. So he's actually,
Mm.
and of course, what should have been the Oscar-winning Straight Outta Compton. He was the uh, executive producer and director on that. So he's got a hell of a film catalog here. So jumping into this, so I reviewed. So sorry. So
Sorry, go
no no
ahead.
no sorry. So I reviewed. I just want to say real quick. I reviewed Fury 7 by myself. I gave it a fan fucking tastic because I felt that what they were shooting for and just how and I'll admit the emotion got me. The emotion actually got me with it being Paul Walker's last movie, and I thought it was such a good send off for the character and everything. With that said, I have to admit this really felt like a real step back. To be totally honest with you. So yeah. So did you see the last one? Did you see Fury 7?
I did see. I vaguely remember that. Like I do remember doing a review with you about it, so I must have seen it. But I remember certain parts about it, like them jumping out of a plane in their cars. I do remember that,
Yeah.
but the rest is kind of foggy.
Yeah, I don't know, man. So getting into this plot. So basically, Vin Diesel is playing, of course, Dom Toretto, as they call him. That's his street name, not Dominic Scott, Dom Toretto, he so he's on basically vacation. Or no, he's on his honeymoon with Letty, played by Michelle Rodriguez, and so the movie starts off with this fucking insane car chase through the streets of Cuba, which by the way, Scott, did you know that Cuba just doesn't have police? Did you know that? Because with this movie, it just really didn't feel like there were any cops anywhere. But uh,
Sorry, I got cut off there.
no, I was like, what's happening? But so the movie starts off this insane car chase in Cuba, which is it really is almost like the refrigerator in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's one of those things where the movie kind of but you know what I mean? Because the movie lays his cards out and goes, okay, if you can't accept this, you're gonna really hate the next 2 hours plus. And so I almost give the movie credit for that, but I was able to handle the car chase. I went, okay, that was fun, insane, improbable, but fun, sure. And so then Charlize Theron's character pops up as Dom's pretty much just heading home from heading back to the hotel after getting coffee. She plays a Cipher, and Charlize Theron, that woman is just God. She's a goddess. I swear to God. But anyways, so so basically she blackmails Dom into working for her and just stealing this EMP and then these nuclear codes, nuclear football as it were, and it's up to Dom's team led by Hobbs, played by Dwayne Johnson, uh, Roman, played by Tyrese, uh, uh,
They
uh,
got the old gang back together.
yeah, of course, Tej, played by Luda, and it's so, and then of course Jason Statham, who's back from the dead, basically, because if you remember the last movie, he got buried under a fucking overpass, and the movie just kind of goes, "Hey, remember when that didn't happen?" And now you could, but you remember that how Vin
That's the
Diesel,
true. That's the true spirit of this movie. Is oh now don't worry about the other movie or like physics or like whatever. Just go for it.
so I don't know. So here's the thing about this. Is this a movie fun? Yeah, it is fun at parts, but there is you have to really suspend your disbelief to enjoy parts of this. And I've gone with these movies. I thought after Fast and Furious, not the Fast and Furious, but Fast and Furious, which was the reboot. I thought they really, when they pretty much just said cars are awesome, but we're gonna make these more heist films, they really kind of started to find their groove. And Fast Five is just fucking amazing. I fucking love that movie. It's insane as shit, but I love that movie. And this was the first time where I kind of went, this is missing something, and I really think what it was missing is Paul Walker. He was really important to these movies, and this movie really shows that while Paul Walker was not the best actor, for some reason his character Brian is just it was that glue that held everything together. You know what I mean? From just being not just ridiculous, but it humanized it a little bit. And there's just I was really missing that aspect of it. So yeah, Scott, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would say that was one of many places that fell short.
Damn. Uh oh.
I I really didn't like this movie.
Damn. God, dropping the
Just
hammer.
no. I mean, I feel like I was thinking, is like, is it a thing where maybe I just don't like the series anymore? Like maybe I'm just like not. I just I couldn't get into it in even like a so bad it's funny kind of a way, or like it's just like it's badass enough for me to not care about anything else. But it just wasn't like it, I don't even know what I'm watching anymore. Like, is this? I was taking notes and I wrote down that I felt like I was watching The Expendables. Like,
Oh, Uh-oh.
which is not like sure when I go to Expendables I know what I'm getting myself into, but like he Dom is jumping out of cars left and right. They've got like grappling hooks. He ends up at one point with this like shield and like this chainsaw. And it's like it's become like a superhero movie and it's extremely dramatic. Like this is like the most dramatic movie I've seen in a while. And the one-liners just they kill me. Like
Oh, I see. Okay, that
I
might
choose to
be.
make my own fate
I
or
know. There.
Dominic Toretto just went rogue. Like I can't. It was just one of those ones that I knew we were gonna disagree on this, but I just it was everything else besides like the actual action.
So
I feel like just brought it down so much. I just number one, I don't like Vin Diesel. That's number one. I liked Dwayne Johnson. I like him in really everything that he does.
yeah.
And I just feel like it really had nothing to do with cars, and that's what I want to watch. Like they end up doing this one street race, and at a certain point, um, Ludacris's character Tej, uh, he drops like this wrecking ball that somehow comes out of nowhere and just like smashes the competition or whoever they're racing against. And just things like that where they just like it just seemed oh man, ugh, I didn't like it at all.
Okay,
Just the whole thing.
so
Just the whole thing.
so here's the thing. I can't even disagree with you because I'm sitting there watching it and I'm thinking, okay, am I having fun with certain parts? Yes, absolutely. But i the Vin Diesel stuff, ironically enough, uh, and look, at this point they did have to mix it up a little bit. I get that, but so I, I, that's the thing. I can't even disagree with you. Like I'm sitting here trying to disagree with you, but I can't disagree
Like,
with you because
he's Dom is like a god to them now. Like I can't watch him do the same look just throughout the entire movie. And I get that's what Fast and Furious is. Like, but I feel like if I went back and watched like the first one or like Tokyo Drift, I actually liked Tokyo Drift when it first came out. But I feel like if I went back and watched it, I'd be like, this is really cheesy and dramatic, which I have seen it somewhat recently, and I feel like they are. So I'm not trying to take away what it's trying to be, and I would agree with you about the last movie about that, where you knew what its purpose was, but I just feel like they are just like becoming sort of lazy in a way that they just throw everything at it, everything that you like about it, like oh family, we're gonna really nail this family thing home every movie. Like I get it, like family's everything, like you family to me. Like there's a twist in this movie that you see coming a mile away, and like Vin Diesel's character is like the centerpiece for a lot of this. Um, and I'm not going to spoil it since it's pretty recent. It's still out right now,
yeah.
but it like it's going to be okay at the end. Like every I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it, but like it's so played out and I just was not in the mood for that. Like I was really like I went in there like expecting I expecting a Fast and Furious movie for sure. But then I got this like over the top just dramatic like I just was not having it at all.
So okay, so here's the thing. Let's kind of go down the characters here. So Dwayne Johnson is Hobbs. He was my second favorite character next to one other person who I will get to here in a second. So there's a point where Dwayne Johnson. So you've seen the spot in the trailer where he kind of like rams the rocks. Pardon me, Dwayne Johnson's like car on the road.
Rams the Rock.
Yeah, rams
Thank,
the rock. Yeah,
thank
there you
you.
go.
Thank you.
God, that was bad. I wasn't even trying to, but he rams him off the side of the road, and then he gets arrested. So he is put in like this max security prison with Decker Shaw, who's Jason Statham's character, who again is back from the dead. And so they have a bunch of posturing. I did appreciate the line. I will beat your ass hard so hard like a Cherokee drum or something like that. I mean it's a
Yeah.
cheesy fucking line, but I laughed. I fully admit it. And then Decker Shaw's Statham, he's just fucking with Dwayne Johnson. I actually appreciate that. He was just talking about how, oh yeah, you finally went rogue, and he was just busting his balls. And I appreciate that. And that their back and forth leads to what I actually thought was the best action scene in the whole movie, which is this escape with the two of them. And will you at least give me that, Scott? Will you at least give me the prison scene? Will you at least give me that? You had fun with that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Dude, it's gonna be like pulling teeth with you. I'm liking this.
it really is. I just, yeah, I don't know. I was not like impressed at any point in this movie, I would say. Uh, but yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, I guess you could, yeah, that would be fun part.
Okay, so I will say that was my second favorite action scene, which I'll
Okay.
get to my top. So Dwayne Johnson, I really liked as Hobbs. Jason Statham, I thought was the MVP of this movie. Whenever they need something, I don't know. This kind of reminded me of Transporter. Jason
Yeah, I did
Statham.
like, yeah, Jason Statham was not bad, I will say that.
He actually made me go like, oh man, because I don't know if you saw it, Scott. No, I don't think you did, but me and Colin we reviewed a Mechanic Resurrection, and that was fucking terrible. And I really thought, man, this guy is just it's over for him. But he really showed some charisma and delivered his lines well. And you get Statham for action. And my favorite action scene, uh, and I can't talk too much about it without spoiling it, but there is a fight scene with him on an airplane towards the end of the movie, and I thought that action sequence was done so insanely well, especially because he's balancing this thing he has to carry, and I thought that was just it was funny, but I don't know, it worked for me, and Statham really does show that he can still kick ass. So kudos to him on that. Uh, Michelle Rodriguez as Letty. I what do you want? She's
But it's the same. But it's like I said, it's the person that you expect her to be. You know what I mean? It's not like she's not like coming out of left field with like this crazy character. Like you know what you're gonna get a little Latin flair. You know, you're gonna get like
damn.
your sassy little bit of sass. You know, and then like she likes Dom because he's a tough guy. He's like the captain and stuff.
Yeah, so I mean that was okay. Yeah, she was cheesy in this. I will say I watched her and God, I'm on my Hugh Grant shit tonight. Like I can't stop doing that. But her and Vin Diesel, their chemistry. There are some scenes where it's there, and then there's some scenes where it feels like they could not give a fuck less about each other, and it's kind of jarring to be totally honest with you. I always felt with Jordana Brewster's character, I can't even remember who she played, it doesn't really matter, but with her and Paul Walker, when they got together, I felt the chemistry with them really in every scene they had. It goes back and forth with Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez. So this may be our biggest disagreement here on this, Scott. I thought Tyrese was great. Like, and I am not a Tyrese fan, but dude,
You
I
know
was
what is You know what is funny is I could tell that there are like a few kids behind me, and they were not white. I will say that. But the funny part about that
yeah.
is that every time that Roman was on the screen, I kid you not, every time, and he kind of has the one-liners throughout the movie, and he's always got one, and they were just busting up just every single time. Like not very much throughout the rest of the movie, but like every time he came on, it busted up. I'm like, I wonder if Hunter likes this guy too.
I'm not gonna lie, he made me laugh, and I think it's because so Scott Eastwood is in this, and he plays Kurt Russell returns as Mr. Nobody. He's of course is gonna be playing Ego in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which comes out in a couple weeks,
Yay.
which I'm sure we will like way more than this. but but so Scott Eastwood is his is his kind of his trainee, if you will. I don't like Scott Eastwood. I've never been a fan of his. I think he sucks, to be totally honest with you. And so it was great to see Tyrese just bust his balls for pretty much the whole movie. That made me laugh because he's playing the uptight. We have to do everything by the book. Damn it. He's playing that guy. And I don't know. Their back and forth made me laugh. Uh, as I mentioned, Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson, their back and forth was really good. Uh, which leads me to the thing that was I know I said Statham was my MVP, but Charlize Theron is probably the first time they've had a villain where I went, wow, she is kind of a bitch, and she doesn't really have a reason at all for being a bitch, but because you have Oscar-winning Charlize Theron, she takes this material that's not great as far as this writing, but she's dragging everything that you humanly could out of it, and she give me at least Scott that you thought she was somewhat engaging.
I'm sorry, I didn't like her.
Really?
No, like I thought she just like she just kind of played into the whole dramatic like feel vibe of this movie to me. Like she was kind of over the top like everybody else. Like I feel like she she was definitely like bitchy, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know, like I didn't hate her, but mm, it was just the whole vibe of the movie. Like it was like Fast and the Furious. Like everybody's like there's all these like when she makes out with him in front of his other girl and his baby who are randomly introduced into this and introduced that he has a baby. Spoilers, whatever. Don't care. Um,
Damn, Scott.
I don't know. I understand where you're coming from, but I would
I feel like this made you angry. I'm sorry if I
it,
may.
it
You seemed angry about this.
yeah, like I was I was watching it and you're totally right. Like you you said before we started recording that you could feel my eyes rolling throughout like while you were watching the movie.
Yeah.
And I was, man. Like I was like I like kept myself from laughing out loud in some parts. Like I
Oh
was laughing
wow.
like at the movie. Like it was this was not good. Like oof. Mm. I was a
So
little bit mad about it.
wow. Okay. Well, I to kind of wrap up here. So not even wrap up, but okay. So this scene I will totally give you. So there is a scene you see in the trailers where Charlize Theron uh pretty much turns these cars into zombie cars, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Scott. I was laughing so hard because the concept that you could control that many cars
Well,
kind of.
the yeah, like the concept of the whole movie though, like what is they're preventing World War III. Like
Yeah.
this is where we're at. We're Fast and the Furious. Like that's my point. Like this is like we're beyond Fast and the Furious. This is like the Expendable Furious Five or whatever. Like they're going after nuclear
Oh my
codes.
god.
Like they've got a God's Eye up who apparently they can just control or find whoever they want, and they just throw that in there. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just couldn't believe any of it. I couldn't believe a single thing that happened in that movie.
Oh my god! Like the thing about this, Scott. Like I said, I can't disagree with you. I can't. I'll.
It's okay that you like it, but
But the
if
thing is,
or you that you didn't hate it, but I just yeah, there's certain
yeah.
things I couldn't get over.
But I'll be honest with you though. I was sitting there and there was that part of me that is very prominent in you is the fact that I sat there thinking, this is really insane though. And like I said, I can suspend my disbelief a lot, but this movie really asks you to be generous, even with the physics that exists in this world. So I so I'm gonna get to my biggest complaint about the movie. It was like the last 25 minutes. It is about 25 minutes too long, and so they end up in Russia because why wouldn't you? And and there's a point where taking on a they're taking on a submarine, and the Rock the
They're
Rock.
literally fighting a submarine. There's a submarine chasing after them, and at one point, one of the cars is driving on top of it, on top of the ice. Like, let's. That is a little peek inside of the world that is this movie.
And then The Rock gets out of the car and is using his feet just like skis because okay, and he uses a car that Tyrese that Roman is driving to push a missile into and Scott, I'm gonna tell you right now, I was crying because I just saw that. I went, okay, movie, like, come on now. I know you're expecting us to, just have fun with it, but you gotta have some logic here at some point. And between that and the way that, spoiler alert, Dom saves the day and destroys the submarine is one of those "are you fucking kidding me?" I actually said out loud, "Are you fucking kidding me?" The way that Dom destroys the submarine. It is a what the fuck moment if there ever has been one. And the movie is filled with stuff like that. And look, the first 15 minutes or so, when it's more focused on Dwayne Johnson's Hobbs, there's this to to point out how predictable this movie can get at points. So Dwayne Johnson's giving this speech, and they don't show who he's talking to, and he's talking about how, we will get victory. It's pretty much a scene from the speech almost from 300. And so he's talking to these people, and you don't see the people. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, okay, what's the most cliche thing? He's probably talking to like some soccer players. And it's a girls' soccer team. I went, oh man, I was like, I could be writing these movies. And so Scott, I think that was the first scene where I went, oh, Scott probably rolled his eyes like a
That was
motherfucker.
pretty early on too.
I know. It's like 15 minutes in, but I know you probably did you not facepalm at that part? Because I feel like you would have.
You know what the part I facepalmed on was the opening scene
Okay.
when the long story short, he his car he's in a race surprisingly, and his car ends up on fire, right? And it's flaming, like the engine is on fire. There are flames like lapping at the windshield around him, and he's still going, obviously, still racing. Um, Wins the race. Uh, bails out of his car just in time for it to careen over a cliff or into the water or whatever and explode. And at that moment, all the local children come rushing up to welcome their new hero. Apparently, is Dom, Vin Diesel, the hero of Italy or wherever the fuck they were.
Cuba.
Uh, Cuba, thank you. Like, what world do they like? Gets out of the he dives out of this car. It explodes. Looks up, checks out Michelle Rodriguez. What's up? Oh hey, I'll shoot you a smile. That's cool. Hey, check out all these kids. They like love me. Like I'm the best. I'm just like the best dude ever. And
He's
you
the
know what
best
I mean? Hey,
around.
family. Hashtag family. Uh,
Hashtag blessed, but
Yeah, that was a face palm there. But
oh
yeah,
my god.
that was the first gave me the first face palm. And from that point I'm like, okay, it's gonna be like this. All right. And I think I just was probably just tuned out after that point.
I
But I write some good things down. Like there's a lot of product placement in this one. I don't know if you noticed
I,
that.
I did, yeah.
And yeah, there's just I think a lot of it is Vin Diesel. I just can't really take him seriously, like as an actor. Um, like he's got like his like serious face, and then he's got like the sweet Dom, and I put here evil Dom, LOL, and then I put I put
Evil Dom.
I think he had two characters. It was evil Dom and close up dreamy Dom. And then he nailed both of them.
Like, so the thing about this is that, yeah, is Vin Diesel the best actor? No, he's not. And the problem is that a lot of the scenes that he has, like a good portion of them, are with Charlize Theron, who's an amazing actress. And so you see her, I know you said she was cheesy, whatever, but I mean, you can at least tell she's trying, and it's just you see Vin Diesel trying to keep up, and it just doesn't go well. And so they make those scenes stand out more. Uh, there there um there is a scene. Oh, actually, referring to the scene that that you were talking about, where he wins the race. When the car explodes, I'm sitting there watching it. And I'm like, okay, I can pretty much write how this is gonna go. He goes, the guy who's racing goes, a deal's a deal. Here you go. Goes to hand him the keys, and
Oh yeah.
he's like, no, he's like, nah. He's like, nah, you keep it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm laughing. And
Oh
then
my
he's
god.
like, why you let me keep my car? Your respect means more to me. I'm like, God damn it. And then he gives his cousin, who he was racing, I think it was his cousin, who he's racing for on his behalf in the first place, gives him the car, the nice car that he came in, and then Dom and Letty just walk off into the sunset with people going, "Yeah, Dom's amazing."
Yeah, exactly. I forgot the part about him giving the car
Oh
back,
my
and that's why the
god,
children all swarmed around him.
so
Like,
good, so
I can't. You could see that coming a mile away. First off, but that's like the thing about this movie. There's like they try to force this moral underlining of like family and sticking together, and it's just like, I can't believe it when you make it so cheesy like this. Like it just doesn't hit home. Like you can't expect to establish an emotional connection after his car just took a double backflip, like burning fire, and then became the new people's champion, and the people like the young daughters and sons of the village carried him away on their shoulders. Like that, you can't sell me both things. It just doesn't work. Then there's
so
a tank involved in this, of course.
the,
They have to
there
put a tank in there.
there is a tank involved, and there's heat sticking missiles. It
Mhm.
gets ridiculous. I'll be the first to admit. I will say in closing here as we wrap up, Helen Mirren has a scene with Vin Diesel and a scene with uh, Jason Statham's Deckard Shaw. I thought it was awesome to hear her cuss. She drops the F bomb. I went, oh wow, that's amazing. And to get someone like her in these movies is quite a big coup, as silly as these are. And she actually does have. It's Helen fucking Mirren. She really did steal her scenes, and it.
Everybody's got a price, Hunter.
Damn, you are sour on these.
I didn't even like her in this movie. Like,
God,
oh boy.
man, only thing
Sorry. I don't. I hope I didn't salty up your review.
No, no, no. God, only thing saltier than you is the Dead Sea. God, it's so salty. But I,
Nailed it.
that's as good as the writing in this movie. In closing, is this movie insane? Oh my God, in heaven, yes. There are just these points where you'll throw your hands up and kind of just be sitting there thinking, "Wow, they went there and they're expecting me to buy it." And a lot of your entertainment is going to really depend on if you can buy this or not. I, by the way, Jason Statham, Deckard Shaw, uh, him working with the good guys, Dom's crew. It is one of those things that is coincidence city when they explain why he turns. I kind of went, all right, that's a bit of a stretch to think that this is what. Okay, sure, why not? But I went back and forth between two grades on this, and I'm I'm gonna be kind because I really enjoyed the wait.
Go with your gut, Hunter. I don't want
No,
to
no, no,
spoil
no,
it.
no, no, you're not, you're not. I honestly I had these two grades going through my brain all day yesterday thinking about it, but I enjoyed the I enjoyed the chemistry between Hobbs and Deckard Shaw quite a bit, and Roman did make me laugh uh, quite a few times, surprisingly, as cheesy as his jokes were, because they're jokes I would tell. So I'm gonna give this a B minus. I think there is definitely some fun to be had here, but this was the first time I kind of went, you should have ended with the last one, but of course they're not. And the way this movie ends, it seems like they're setting up for another fucking trilogy. Jesus Christ, they're gonna keep pumping them out, Scott. Don't you worry.
When you make over $1 billion, how can you not? You're just losing money at that point.
True. So yeah, it's a B minus. But again, this might be the first time where I went, oh, these actually could potentially get way worse going forward. So
Yeah, I could. I'm with you there.
yeah, B minus for me. Scott, your final thoughts on your grade.
This is, you know, as I was watching it, I was trying to be like, are you being too harsh about this? Like, is this supposed to be a fun movie? Like, is it supposed to like really entice your action sensibilities, and I would say yes, but the way that they made it they made it so tied together emotionally that everything that they did that was like silly and over the top just like completely counteracted whatever kind of emotional, you know, thing they were trying to get pushed forward. I feel like it was just contrasting itself the whole time by trying to be serious, but also trying to be this like over the top, like I went through a lot of examples. The wrecking ball, him diving out of his car in the first scene and like the last scene, he does that and just unscathed, completely unscathed, of course. And like I like Dwayne Johnson. I just feel like this was not a Fast and the Furious movie. They barely. I love the street races. Like that's what I loved about the older ones and them like playing for their cars, not like a fucking tank. Like they're not. They're not like. There's like one cool, sort of cool, like race at the beginning of the movie, and even at the end, it falls apart because like no man, you keep it. And it's like you're not a badass. There's nothing in this movie for me to go, oh man, Dom's such a badass. No, he's a little pussy that gives his cars away, even when he gets caught. Like even when he gets beat. Like I'm not scared of that man at all. Like you feel like he's just posturing up the entire time. He's got those mediums on, and he's like at least Dwayne Johnson is like funny and he doesn't try to take himself too seriously, but I mean, good lord, I just couldn't get past Dom. I couldn't get past just how over the top and
Oh my
dramatic
god,
this
I
movie.
love your
I
review of it
felt
so
I
much.
I felt like I was watching a soap opera. Like I honestly felt I was watching that at some time. And the sub scene, oh man, that put it way over the top for me.
What are you giving it, Scott?
Mm.
Don't keep me suspended. No, I'm sorry. I'm so happy that you hate this as much as you do. I think this is gonna be on your worst stuff, isn't it?
You know what? You know what? Thank you for saying that because I walked out of that movie and I told myself, I said, you know what? Don't let anybody tell you differently because I hadn't looked at the reviews. I said, don't let anybody tell you differently, but this is going to be on your bottom 10 at the end of the year.
Oh
So,
my
you know what?
god.
I'm giving this a go fuck yourself.
Oh
I
my
hate this movie. I would not pay a cent to go see this movie. But even in IMAX or RPX or whatever the fuck that they do now, I don't
Oh my god.
might be our biggest difference in a while that we've had in our.
Yeah. Oh my god. And I didn't even love this, but I love that you hated it as much as you did. God damn. Okay.
I don't
No.
think I like these movies. Like I don't think I like him. I think maybe I liked him when I was like 15 and then I watched it again in a later date and just not my demographic.
Oh man, I'm not even mad because that's just wonderful that you. I love that you hate it so much. But
Even when and I got out and I looked at the reviews and generally they weren't like horrible, but
no.
like on Rotten Tomatoes the audience review was like 82%. I'm like, oh god, like Colin and Hunter are probably gonna love this movie, and I'm gonna be the only one that hates it. But I'm glad that you saw a few flaws in it.
Oh no, I definitely see flaws. That's the thing.
But but yeah, I mean, like you went into it like the other one, like you kind of knew what you're getting yourself into, though, right?
Yeah, I did, but like I said, when you're fighting a submarine and you have zombie cars flying out of windows and shit, I can only and, and this is totally actually this is related. So there's a point where Cipher breaks in to wherever the secret agents. I don't even think they even mentioned the
It's
agents
on a
really.
it's on an airplane, isn't it?
No. When they break in, they steal the God's Eye or
Oh,
whatever.
oh, right, yes, yeah.
So they break in, and there's not a point where you think where Cipher goes, oh yeah, shoot one of them or anything like that. They just leave, and even I kind of sitting there thinking, why wouldn't you shoot one of them? Okay, no, all right. And so look, there's a lot of stuff here where you do have to kind of go. All right.
And there's kind of, if you don't know if you noticed, but there's a lot of violence, but not actually a lot of violence. Like there's a lot of like Dwayne Johnson like kicking people, which was awesome. He was just like kick people like 10 feet across the room, which was pretty sweet. I'll have to admit that. But
Yeah.
like no one really got shot. No one really like there wasn't a lot of blood, which I probably would have liked to see. Um, because I do love the gore. Um, I feel like it was just more like car crashes, like vehicle explosions, and then like people just getting beat up. Am I wrong?
No, no, no. You're right.
Perfect. Just want to make sure I was right.
I just
You can continue.
I'm
Yeah,
genuinely happy
I
for
don't know
you.
what else to say about this movie.
Fair enough, man. Like I said, I can't even be mad at you. I really can't even be mad because like I said, this was the first time where I really did kind of go, oh wow, these are kind of starting to lose their steam. Maybe they're out of turbo, or whatever. But
Not
uh,
enough nos,
yeah,
you
not
know.
enough nos exactly. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to our worst stuff for this year, so we can talk about how much you
We can
hate
go
this
over this
film.
again.
Yeah,
I should
because
rewatch it just to like reignite that fire.
there you go. Yeah, rewatch it in December. But guys, what did you think of Fate and Furious? You probably saw it. You're probably part of the. So, oh, go ahead, Scott.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, man. But yeah, let us know what you thought. You're probably part of that over 500,000,000 people who saw this internationally. Good grief.
Ugh,
I
so so much money.
I
So
know.
and then I read the next day that it broke the record for all time box office opening weekend. Like,
I'm sure that
oh
made
God bless
sure
America.
sure that made you feel good.
No, it didn't, Hunter. It didn't.
No, I could imagine. I could imagine. I imagine you picking up a newspaper and then just spitting on where it says "Fate and Furious," like just hawking the
I did
Mosquito.
something. I did something on it.
There
It
you
wasn't
go.
spit.
Go take a dump on the paper. But guys, what did you think of Fate and Furious? Let us know in the comments below. You can follow us here on SoundCloud at the Real Pineapple 775. Like us on Facebook at the Real Pineapple. Follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunter Real Pineapple, and you can follow our other comrade Colin on Twitter at the Real REEL O'Neill, and you can follow Scott on Twitter at
Newman the first.
guys. Thank you so much. I will have my first solo review up in a while for what Fox can do. I've been working on this for about a month and a half, but what Fox can do to finally get the X-Men movies right, because they have a New Mutants movie coming out next year, which I'm not super thrilled about, but we will see how they go with that, and we'll have some other stuff up for you guys as well this weekend. Guys, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.